Hello again, my friends out there in the crypto world. Today we're going to talk a little bit about helium. What is helium? We're hearing a lot of hoopla about helium and the project of helium and other big companies coming in and now giving away free miners in helium. Is that good? Is that going to help helium? What is helium? Many people know it as a HNT and from the platforms for trading. It's fairly strong at this point. We've talked about it in the past, but today we're going to talk about what helium is and if it's going to be good or bad for the future. What's its purpose? Don't go away. Let's talk about helium today. So let's discuss a little bit helium. There's a video I want to watch that Helium put out. So it's by them. It's actually a really good video. I like it. It really helps educate. So I'm going to show that for educational purposes. And by the way, I think I will make that note right now that this is only for educational purposes. We are not in the business of giving financial advice. So we're going to do is share with you things we've found through our investigating and what we think we're going to do through our experience. And if you can benefit from it, please hit the like button down there and hit the bell and subscribe, and let's get the word out so we can get this through the algorithms and get out there. And look, the bottom line is, I think Helium's a good project. It's got a lot to offer, but I got some concerns, especially how it's being implemented right now. I understand, that there's a race against other innovators and things like even Apple could come up with something that could compete with them. Microsoft, the same. You've got Apple more so, I think, than Microsoft, but Amazon. You've got these different competition out there that could cause Helium maybe to not get their place. Now they want to be the internet of the people. So the idea is that they're going to get these devices in homes, and that can be one device for every 300 to 500 meters square, or I'm saying yards square, I should say. And so that means that not everybody gets to have one. And if your neighbor has one and you have one, well, there's a reward program. They actually pay you to put this device in your home. They actually rent this little space in your home. The device is like the size of a router, not very big. I like the idea, I like the concept, because if they decide they want to abuse our data, our information, we're going to just unplug them. I like that. Helium's aim was to be decentralized. But are they maintaining decentralized in this market competition to try to race now through different companies, such as ihub.global? Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Or is it a good thing that has risk to it? And let's discuss that right now. First, let's go through and see what helium is, what it can do, what it's already doing, and the use that Wi-Fi and internet have in our daily lives that aren't as efficient as helium can be through those same technology. Let's go see this video. We're going to watch this video right now, and we'll watch this video, and we'll stop and talk about it a few times, okay? Let's go ahead and start this video. Ready?
We've all used Wi-Fi for stuff like this.
So adorable.
And cellular data for stuff like this. Triaxolotl. Every day we connect to the internet, but it's not just people. From parking meters to packages, even these damn scooters. All these things should connect to the internet. Even this dog. Well, not the dog, but its collar. Seems like this little guy is lost. Luckily, he's got a smart collar on it. But that smart collar isn't so smart without the internet. Cellular data plans can be pricey. It's not like Sean could just log into this cafe's Wi-Fi real quick.
Hey, I like your dog.
Oh, it's not my dog. I'm just using him to demonstrate a point.
What's your point?
Glad you asked. Wouldn't it make sense for all of these things to have their own internet? A network that works just for them, so they could always stay connected anywhere, anytime. That's the kind of future I want to live in. And guess what? We can. With the Helium HOTSPOT.
Honey, who's that?
I'm the future.
So what we see here is that the scooters, the bikes you see downtown in the major cities, mostly, all across the globe, actually. I've traveled a lot, and I've seen these scooters, and I know my son likes to go to San Francisco, and they rent the scooter, and they take off, and I always wondered, well, what if they steal the scooters? How do you track them? Well, the GPS device on them. And the whole system that runs your scooters and bikes that you can just pick them up and go with that application, is all done on Wi-Fi. But you see the advantage that Helium has, it's 200 times stronger. It goes 200 times further than Wi-Fi because it works through the LoRa system, the radio waves. The LoRaWAN gives you the protection of your data processing, right? The LoRa is the radio waves. The WAN is the protection that comes, the encryption part that comes with the data that's processed, right? So we're going to talk about that a little bit too, because that'll be a concern that some people have had. I've had questions. People, well, what about my data? Is it, is it protected? And that's a big concern we have, especially with all the hacking and with all the data stealing and theft these days in all the countries in the world. So what we're looking at is you see that packages are being delivered. I think it was a FedEx guy there. The dog collar, so you can track your dog further. If it's on Wi-Fi, that dog has to be in some sort of a Wi-Fi situation, right? Or I should say, where Wi-Fi can reach the dog. What if the dog's outside of Wi-Fi? Well, remember that the LoRaWAN system, the LoRa system, goes further because radio waves. And it extends further than I know Wi-Fi is also radio waves, but it extends further in the system how it's set up. So it gives us a greater distance, a greater efficiency in tracking. For postal, you do your order, you order something online, and you're looking for it all the time. And I have to go into all these different procedures. Well, this will make it much easier. Put an app on, and you can then basically track through all these companies that are affiliated with Helium. There's many other usages, right? You're also going to see here in the rest of the video that it can actually alert of wildfires. There's actually ways you can hook up data systems to where if environmental data is processed, and certain scientific organizations can review this data to see if there's, not just agriculture. That's another aspect of it too. But you can see if there's data, maybe to predetermine an earthquake in the future, or a volcano eruption, or even something of a drought. Or maybe there's extensive humidity in the area. In those same sensors, you can apply them to an agriculture aspect with how's your fruit or your product coming along with the moisture content it needs? Is it getting what it needs? Is it not? You can make determinations for your irrigation, your water systems. Everything can be controlled better and more efficiently this way. So you could say, well, if we have all this technology, then it's going to replace jobs. Well, we don't have people out there, poking holes all the time in the fruit. Say we got peaches, and we want to know if the moisture content is good for the trees or not. That's not necessarily going to replace jobs. I mean, I think it's going to add to and better our efficiency in jobs. I'm not one that's a big AI guy on having our human job replacements done by computers. But the Helium network allows us to, and maybe there's some drawback there. Maybe in that it will allow some AI to function. I don't think it needs Helium to function though. I think what we have right now, at least what the goal is in blockchain right now, and we understand that Helium is a company that's based on blockchain, and I want to step aside from that to remind everybody that blockchain is based to be a decentralized type of a venture, right? And blockchain then also is encrypted, which makes data secure, which is different when it goes to the actual internet. Now, blockchain based on the internet, and we know that we use internet every day, as this young lady mentioned in the movie, but blockchain makes it more secure for us. And so overall, the Helium project has a lot of advantages to it, and a lot of room to grow, because blockchain, we know, can grow. When you have the smart contracts in blockchain that determine the destiny or the programming or the direction that a product or a business is going, is very different than having one person. For example, we can look at Amazon, for example, right? And we have Amazon, we have one person, and we have as the head, and then we have the corporate body, and there are politics in that, and policies. Well, you do the same thing, but those can change from day to day, as we've seen they have done over the last few years, actually. And so that can change. And so that means, do we like them? Do we want to support them? Well, once they become big, we don't have no choice, right? That's like with this ihub.global venture, with the actual devices that they're going to give out to all these people in the world, especially down here in Latin America. They're like bombarding. Everybody's getting one. So that's going to bring us to our disadvantages. Blockchain is made to be decentralized. It's made to be a decentralized network. And Helium was to be a people's network, decentralized. But when you have ihub.global come in and say they're going to give out 30 million of these devices, and you're going to, all the software is going to come through them, for payments. Therefore, everything now is going to be controlled then by a conglomerate or a big company, which then centralize it. And we've talked about that before. So that's a concern of mine. So the other concern would be, and the question comes up, well, is it safe? Well, we can go through data here. Let's look at this report that was done in actually 2019 by Josh Constein, I believe is his last name. Helium launches a $51 million funded long-fi IoT alternative to cellular. Now, they're talking about a cellular network in the future, which would be a lot less than our regular providers we see today and across the world, from my understanding. This is going to be interesting because, well, what makes this project safe and makes it the people's network is it's going to be in each one of our homes, as we mentioned. Or I should say, one home every 400 to 500 yards or meters square, right? So if we don't like what they're doing, unlike with Amazon, we kind of unplug Amazon. Yeah, we can all get together and say, well, we're not going to use them. Problem is that they actually now own that market. If you want to find something out there, it's much easier to find it on Amazon. And we know that. But if we don't like how Amazon treats us, me not buying from them, well, if we do that over time, we get the people to join us, then we can create a movement. But they're so big now that it doesn't affect them. However, if we as a people don't like what Helium does with our information, they're stealing data or misusing our data, we can always unplug them. And we've mentioned that before. So that makes the people's network. And here's the beautiful thing about it. As in the video, they pay you. They pay us to have these devices. They pay us in a coin called Helium on that blockchain. It's a cryptocurrency. Now, can you trade that out for $1? You're doggone right you can. You have to do it on a platform. And there's certain countries that require you, everything you do, you have to bring it through and pay your taxes. I'm not saying evade your taxes, but what we are saying is that you can trade that out for your fiat currency, the currency of your land. Helium's a strong currency, but here's my concerns. With companies as conglomerates coming in like ihub.global and giving these people all these devices, what kind of intellectual level are we placing these homes in? In other words, they're not doing it because they support the network. They're doing it because they're being promised down here. I saw yesterday. I saw this promotion of you're going to earn from 1 to 100 HNT, in other words, tokens, a day or a month, I should say, a month. Well, that's currently around $20 right now. So if you think about that, it's $2,000 a month, right? So if you had $20,000 a month, and people are coming in, yeah, great. What happens if they only make $20? Are they going to keep it, or are they just going to disconnect it? That's a concern of mine. So Helium's got to deal with that somehow. I know that they're trying to get out there quickly because they're in competition with other competitors, cell phone services, right? Because now they want to be a cell phone service. That's what they're reporting. Look at some fundamentals here. It's low power, okay? It's long Fi, and this long Fi extends a lot further than regular Wi-Fi does. So if you're on that scooter or your dog gets lost, the long Fi can penetrate into a parking garage, for example, where Wi-Fi might be blocked, okay? So you can have a lot better reception then. If it's a cell network, wow, much better penetration as well. Plus, if you've got that thing in your house, you're right underneath that umbrella. Its founders, the Napster inventor, Sean Fanning. That's interesting. He's one of the co-founders. That gives some experience to this project, which is something we always look for in a blockchain project, is who's co-founding it? Do they have the experience? He got experience. You know, Napster was very successful until regulation changed and basically kind of nipped him in the butt. But they were successful, and Sean was successful, and there's a lot of hope that Sean can bring this new innovation to a new level as he did with Napster. Now, you know, this is kind of like being when Bluetooth and Wi-Fi were just used basically for business purposes, and now that, you know, look how it facilitates our life. We use it every day. This camera right now is operating on Bluetooth. You know, before it was a bunch of cables. It just makes life a little easier. Now, I'm not saying all things make life easier are actually good for us or actually have progress, but I like where Helium's going with it to this point. Now the question comes up, is Helium safe? Is that data, is that information safe? Well, we have to look at that and say, well, Helium comes out and they'd say, well, look, we haven't programmed our devices to process anything else but what they're programmed for. So any private information, like on your computer and so forth, it's not programmed to even retrieve the information and take it anywhere. Okay, so it's a different system than you're going to find like, you know, that little machine that can talk to you and answer questions. That one there you got a little more concerned about. I like Helium. Now you can also protect your data with a VPN or DVPN, better yet. and make sure that data is not processed or used erroneously. Just Amar Helium is the other co-founder and is actually the CEO of Helium. You have here, we talked about the trackable colors, irrigation valves, water, even water, moisture content in homes or in buildings, businesses. There's other things you can link up to that too. Even like something that kind of worries me a little bit is that you can even trace that like when they're coming through your business. Is there any detectable like of bacteria or viruses in the air? They're working on that as well, and to put that that could very well fall in line with helium from what I'm reading and what we've found in our research. I think that this whole project started back in 2013, right? So it's got a long history. It's been up and running for 2 years. It's had the halving in August, and every 2 years is a halving. We'll get into another video and reading the white paper and go to the white paper and explain exactly what's helium's destiny, what the purposes are. Right now, we're going to explain what they're saying their usage is and where that benefits us, right, and some of the risks. I see it uses the same electricity as a 12-watt LED light bulb. Its price range about $500 right now, except if you're with ihub.global, they're giving away free. But remember, that's not directly with helium. So I can't promise you that information is going to be protected through ihub.global. Helium does promise that. They come out and say that. But if you go through ihub.global, I can't promise that. I'm not saying that they are going to take information or process data, but I'm just saying that you actually have devices that are geared with different software. They all will go through iHub, and then all payments end up connect to Helium. You can open directly with Helium. You can buy this device yourself. And many people are already doing it. There's about 180,000 people already hooked up. I know that our group has almost 50 of these devices, 47 devices I think we have that are coming in now. And we're going to start hooking those up. So here's the word. I hook my device up. I get it free or I pay for it, especially with 190,000 people. There's a lot more than that because we're on a back order. So I bet you there's 500,000 people that have ordered these already. In fact, I bet you there's more than that. But let's say we have 500,000 people. Now, iHub comes in and gives all these free monitors away to people that really haven't done any research at all. They have no idea what helium is about. All they know is they're getting promised they're going to make all this money. There's my concern. And I've expressed that to iHub recently, and they came back to me, some of the representatives in Mexico came back to me and said, just yesterday actually, we're kind of going back and forth and telling me basically I'm going to miss out, I need to get with it. And they're all caught up on the money aspect of it. And I said, look, it's impossible it can make that kind of money that's being promised. And iHub, I know Helium needed to partner up with people to get it out there because of competition, right? If they don't get out, they're going to get squashed. But here's the danger of this. I live down in Latin America, and I know that 90% of these people, if not more, are only getting this device because it makes money. I've had people tell me, because we're involved with that, because of the competition, and I need to go through that to be able to reserve our areas, because if my neighbor comes in, here's the other problem, and I'll get back to this problem. My neighbor comes in and says, hey, I like what my neighbor's making. He's making $20, $30 a day on HNT or more, and a month, making a few $100s a month. I like that idea too. Now, I'm in Latin America, so a few $100s a month, that's where I'm at in Ecuador. $400 is the minimum salary, right? Today, that's where I'm at now. Now, you go back and you put in, somebody next door says, hey, you're making half minimum salary. Or you're making $100 a day, or you're making $30 or $40 a day, pays electricity for a lot of these poor people. They're going to put one in. What's going to happen to my device then? It's going to make less money. And somebody else puts one in, it makes less money. They need that distance to be able to operate at their maximum capacity. So when you have an uneducated system, with all due respect, but when you have an uneducated system in this, you have the potential of a collapse or pockets collapsing, because when it stops paying, they're going to disconnect it or they're not going to care for it. And so eventually I see once all these 30 million miners are in, you're going to start having downsides. What we're going to do is start filling those voids with our machines we have. And hopefully we can all do the same thing to save the Helium network, but I think Helium might have made a mistake on this. I think a slower, steady growth would have been good. However, you got a lot of competition with Amazon, with Apple, and so forth. So they kind of stepped to the rock and a hard spot. They want to get it out there. But they're going to have to do a lot more in education. So what can happen is if they start disconnecting and you start getting in loops, you're going to start losing confidence in the market, and therefore the Helium coin, the price will drop, right? So the Helium business will then be retarded. I think we've covered a lot on Helium today. I think we talked about the idea of the risks. When it goes to ihub.global, it becomes now a non-decentralized. Maybe it's on all our homes, but they can control it and they can manipulate Helium. IHub Global. But I'm not bashing on IHub Global. I'm just saying they are going to do that. I'm just saying it could be done. Okay, so let's get that clear. And I make it clear too that we are affiliated with them. We have recently come on board with them only because that in Latin America right now is the movement, and we need to reserve our spots so that we can be able to also in the future put our own miners in, right, that we've spent a lot of money invested in. I hope that clears up a little bit what helium is. Do we feel good about helium? Well, yeah, we're deeply invested in helium and the project. We feel good about it, but I do see concerns. So we're going to go forward with our eyes open and being alert. I guess one of the advantages we're going to have of those who already have miners and miners coming is that you'll get those miners before the bulk of people do through the IHub program. And I hear this when I talk to actually Helium on the question and answer. I got an answer back, and I don't think it was a Helium employee, but somebody was there answering questions. He said, "Yeah, Helium doing this, and they actually have others that they've actually are allowing to mass market these miners." Now, that's the last question. Mining. Are they actually a miner? Well, I guess they are, because they do create the coin. That's the idea behind it. And that gives them more of a decentralization, because I'm not a big fan on staking, as we talked about before. So mining helps maintain the decentralization in that aspect that the miners are functioning. But when you have a company that controls those miners, then we eliminate the whole idea of decentralization. So that concerns me. If iHub and others are involved and they're doing this work for Helium, Helium's not the one in control. The software is being programmed. I understand that. Smart contract programmed. But you know how smart contracts can be changed is that those that have the majority of control can then make changes, right? So if they can influence other people, especially the poor people, to want a different type of a product or a different type of production, they can. They can actually also manipulate data. Not saying they will, but that's a concern. You can protect it though. There are ways you can protect it and protect yourself. So we're going forward with it. And we're going to go forward with it with the idea that we're going to try to get involved and help educate the people to help the Helium project. That's why we're going forward with it. I don't want to. I'd rather be independent. I'd rather see a whole bunch of independents that have 100, 200, 300 of these devices, and they are kind of structuring themselves this way, a small business or something, and it's expanding globally this way. But I also understand the other foot that, on the other hand, that hand and foot, that Helium is up against some tough competition. Well, in summary, I feel good about it. I like it. I'm concerned, but we'll stay posted here. So let's do a video and go over the white paper. Let's examine exactly how Helium pays and so forth too. We've just done that already, but I want to talk a little more about what the advantage is of Helium, what their whole vision is, I should say, more correctly. And you know, we do our homework, we research, and we always are evolving. New news comes out in this market, blockchain. It's exciting, it's emotional, but it's always changing. We do our homework, and we're trying to help you, educate you, as well as we educate ourselves, and share our experience with you. So we're going to stay with you on this. We're going to go through this. If you have your own miners, or if you're in the iHub program or other programs, we're going to walk you through and try to educate you what the purpose is and how we can help maintain the Helium project. I like the project. I don't want to see the downsides actually occur, but it is a risk, and we have to understand that, because the Helium coin could collapse and the network could collapse if people aren't getting the promise, getting the promised returns on that rental space for the actual device being in their homes. And that concerns me, because down here there's a lot of people blowing things way out of proportion down here in Latin America. Hey, we do our homework, and we don't want you to actually believe in what we say. Well, at least not everything we say. We want you to actually take what we say and do your own homework. That way, you really understand what's going on. We'll see you soon. Stay tuned. Hit the like button, thumbs up, and subscribe so we can get this out to everybody. Please. We want to get the information out. We can educate the people in Helium and its benefits and what it is, not just returning money to you. That's going to be something that's secondary. We got to get people focused on the primary purpose of Helium. And that's a movement we got to take place. I hope IHub Global does that. And that's what I'm asking them to do, and all the other conglomerates with Helium and Helium to educate the people you're giving these miners. I should think they should actually have to take a course before they can plug it in. I should say it does not work unless they've had a course. It's like a 30-minute course, basically a brief course on what the benefits are. And so that's what I'm asking for. So if Helium, if you're watching this, please, IHub Global, please educate the people, or it's going to collapse for both of you. We'll see you soon.